Ready, fire, aim. Hello, it's Justin McDonald here with another results report for you. And today, our magical quote comes from Peter Spapin. I was just making sure that the camera was actually facing this board at least a little bit because I have a very professional studio here, ladies and gentlemen. So trying hard not to reinvent the wheel, but rather take that existing wheel and make it spin better. And you've probably heard this a few times in your life. Don't reinvent the wheel. And it's definitely something you want to pay attention to. I think as creators and artists of all types, we have a tendency to want to be unique and have our own individual voice and personality. And don't get me wrong, that's all very important to have. Those are very important qualities to have as an artist. However, one of the traps that we fall into is two things. Is one, perfectionism, right? Uh, Trying to be perfect. And the other one is basically the reinventing of the wheel. And you're trying all these things to get the wheel spinning, but you're using all these things that aren't even wheels. Squares and rectangles and triangles and all these different shapes you're trying to put in the place of where wheels would go in a car. A car needs four wheels to move, and you're over here putting random objects into where the wheels should go. You ain't gonna go very far. I mean, sometimes there's anomalies, but you get what I'm saying. So when it comes to business and marketing, like, you're better off innovating than inventing. Uh, Not only as most of these things that you have in your mind have been tested and tried and true, but you know what I mean? Like, you could save yourself so much legwork and misery and all these other things by doing everything just so perfect your way. And if you're going to do things perfect away, I would much rather emulate the path to success or somebody that's already have been there, or somebody that is going to where you want to be, but you're not necessarily emulating exactly what they're doing, but like, there's a lot of entertainers and athletes and success coaches and inventors and CEOs and political candidates and writers and all these different people and influential people. And there's things, even like movie producers and songwriters, like, a lot of them have found a way where it's not just like this really crazy creative process, but they've also somehow tapped into like the business aspect of it too, and the marketing aspect of it, where um you can almost consider like the best art out there, I guess you could say, is being prolific. And the people that pull off great things and get great success and wealth in their life have found their magic, I guess you can say, really in that prolific zone. Sometimes I like to be prolific too, or try to be, where it's like you're not you're not necessarily going with the mainstream, like the generally accepted knowledge, like the things that you are taught in school and by your peers in society, like that's all like everybody kind of knows it. It's not crazy. It's well known and accepted. And then you have like really crazy out there borderline psychopath, schizophrenic, crazy. I don't want to say that, but like you know what I mean, like just really out there in outer space, just very not on planet Earth when it comes to their imagination. So like you gotta think prolific is like dead center in the middle of that, where it's kind of like bringing the crazy and bringing the normal into, you know what I mean, in like the middle of the Venn diagram, I guess you can say. So like there's a lot of money, there's a lot of opportunity for the prolific. That's something that I could add to what Peter Spapin said. Rest in peace. And um, you know that's another spin, pun intended, on the wheel theory. Like instead of reinventing the wheel, you want to make it spin better. You want to innovate. Well, being prolific is a strategy that you could use to keep the wheels spinning better. So like you might have this crazy idea, but it has to do with something that is well known and accepted. So you know what I mean, think about even like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or even Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. They have they have also found a way to kind of be prolific on their idea almost, where it was just like they they didn't necessarily invent whatever technology that they were using, but they figured out a way to like take this technology that already exists and innovate and grow and make it something completely different. But it's not so crazy that nobody wants to buy or have anything to do with it. It's like that's what I'm talking about with the prolific stuff. You know what I mean? Something stunning and crazy almost and like very like borderline, like not maybe not PC, whatever it is, but then you have, you know, like society and the general accepted boring kind of stuff. So like you don't ever want to be boring, right? But you don't want to be like in jail or in a psych ward either. So grab a pen, grab some paper, grab your typewriter, grab your computer, laptop or whatever and go to town. You know, like could you imagine like Hemingway or Robert Hunter S. Thompson or all these other authors, what if like they didn't write or make content or write books? You know what I mean? I wonder. I wonder, you know what I mean, where they would be if they didn't decide to create. I mean, they some of these writers went into some really wild and dark places. And, you know, it's like if you see it too, like it's like that kind of content creating and being an entrepreneur, it's not for everybody. Like some of us would be probably in very not so pleasant places if it wasn't for our love to like change the world or like make it a better place and use like our creativity and talent to like change the world or whatever. Like when someone's kind of like it's not like figuring it out because no one ever is gonna like figure it all out. But when somebody like figures out like I believe in that kind of figuring out. Like you figure out like a process that works, and it could be like a writing process, a publishing process, a business process, whatever it might be. Like I believe in somebody kind of getting that and like, you know what I mean, and like life kind of changes for them. It's different than like hitting the lottery or anything like that. It's just like it's I don't know. I love like when I figure that out too. Like you just figure out like a process that kind of works. Um, so like if you are a creator of any type too, like just I if I were to recommend anything, I would say, you know, of course, just use that like finding validity in other people. Very don't look too much into that. Like cuz your best craft and all that is probably not going to be very appealing to most people. So just be aware of that. Like you might find that repulsing and turning certain people off in your content creating is doing two things that are actually intuitive, not counterintuitive. It sounds like it is, and beneficial to you in the long run. I mean, of course, you being able to express yourself without putting yourself through unnecessary filters is one of them, and being honest, which is where all your energy will just like flow right out of you, like water. When you are able to find hidden truths and deliver them in a certain way. And then the other thing too is in this like repulsive writing marketing kind of field that I'm very fascinated by. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's not. Is through this process, you're gonna probably get a slimmer and slimmer amount of people that are going to be going down like your funnel or down your path, whatever you want to call it. But that's okay because I would rather want intelligent, engaged, people that want to actually better their lives and that have like intelligence and that want to read along versus like no matter what business that you're in, you're gonna find, and it's necessary too. You need to make money, but I understand that. But like you're gonna find a lot of times that you're gonna just find that low hanging fruit. I guess you could say that they're just like they almost buy anything sight unseen, which again is necessary and okay in business a lot of times. But the aftermath, but the car, you know what I mean, like because a lot of us are in the kind of the karma business. We'll get to that another time. But like, what's gonna happen is if you just like cater too much to that low hanging fruit, like it's gonna be detrimental to you and your process in the long run. But also, you're not going to attract the right kind of client. You're going to attract the kind of client where you don't want to wake up the next day to like serve their needs. That's what I mean. Like, you know what I mean? There's people out there that will that you. This used to happen a lot more probably in the late '90s or early 2000s. But like when a lot of these success coaches and you know guys would do different things on stage and sell seminar tapes and CDs and such, when that was like a bigger thing, like so many people, and still to this day too with books, like will buy whatever it is, the program, the seminar, and book, and it's like as soon as they put it in the cart, before they even swipe their credit card or whatever, they already have it in their minds that they solve the problem. This is like what a lot of people do when they buy stuff too. Like as soon as they make that, has that ever happened to you? You make that purchase on eBay or Amazon or whatever, and you're like, you didn't even get it in the mail yet. You didn't even like hit checkout yet, and you're already like done. Check that off the checklist, and that's how a lot of people think when it comes to like their marketing and their business problems too. Like they're just like, hey, why don't I just buy this book or get this like 50 or $100 program, just sign up for this newsletter, and then that's it. That's all I have to do, and then all my problems are solved. I wish it was that easy. Like it's not. And there isn't anybody out there that's going to be able to just like give you some kind of magic advice or wand, and then all of a sudden, hey, why don't you just, if it was that easy, everybody would doing it. If you just like pay all the, if you could just pay a set amount of money and then not have to worry about it at all. Like, no, like, you want, when I was talking about, like, it's like almost like repulsive marketing, where you're just kind of being honest, you'll get a smaller amount of people that will probably be more bigger fans of what you're doing and want to go, and they actually like want to go along for the ride. They almost like want you to sell them something at some point. They're like what are you trying to sell me? Like, I'll buy it. Like, I like what you have to say. Like, that's what you want for a client. Because like, I mean, how are you even going to retain a relationship if it's just based on numbers and there's no personality, and it's not really going to last. So that's why honesty and being prolific are strong tools to use in any business for all marketing purposes. And you don't have to be so honest as in to like repulse people, like what you had for breakfast, this relationship that you're in, some bad review. You don't have to like be completely 100% honest about every single thing that is going on in your life. However, that might not hurt either. That might not hurt either. When purchasing agents and of businesses and also just people that just regular consumers are buying stuff, sometimes that might not hurt, you know? And that's why even for me just to put something like this together and deliver a message for you, imagine if I just got hung up on this crappy light that I stole. I don't know, I was playing around with the light for like 5 minutes. I'm like, that's enough time. It's too much time to like spend on getting the light just right. Um, and anything else too. Like, if I'm trying to promote my website, like results-required.com, or have people follow me, right, at results required, I would maybe want to like write it all perfectly so and legibly so y'all can read it and this whatever. Like, if I got hung up on that stuff, or if I just spent all day just like obsessing and thinking about this quote or whatever, like whatever it could be, I would probably just would be stuck in that analysis paralysis thing. It's something that a lot of artists and writers, believe it or not, have struggled with. And I would say, to wrap this up, because again, we're talking about reinventing the wheel and not doing that, and we want to make the wheel spin better. So I'll come back around on that wheel and see if I can make a couple more examples of how you can make an existing wheel spin better, or where I would see other businesses do that on a day-to-day basis, and you can kind of just like take their idea and apply it to you. Like, that's what I was trying to say at the beginning too. Like, there's all different kinds of artists and entertainers and successful people that you can model their behavior in such a way, and like what got them there. Like, maybe they read certain books, or maybe they had a certain style to like accomplish whatever it is they're trying to do, or like create, like just to get themselves in the mindset of like eliminating distractions and focusing and all that stuff. Like, there's a lot you can take from what's already out there, instead of just like trying to be something completely unique and different, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but you might want to put that edge on something that already exists. Like, if you have an edge to make the wheel spin faster and better because you have some special oil in mind, or that's exactly what it's all about. You want to deliver what's already out there with better customer service, faster, better, nicer, with more bonuses, all this stuff. Like, that's what's going to make the wheel spin faster. So another thing that ties in to some of this, and like perfectionism and analysis paralysis, is setting deadlines. And this is one that I've had struggle with, and I still do sometimes too. And a lot of us have a lot of different projects, and sometimes we bail on certain projects when they're like 3/4 done, 90% done, 99% done, half done. So, I can't tell you how many times I've done that, and I just have like 10, 20 books that are like half started, almost done, half finished, and it's just like, just publish one already, right? So, my advice with that, just going through it myself, is set deadlines. This is how anybody gets anything done, is like put it, like physically hold yourself to it, like by a calendar, I'm just saying, and write down, you want to get this done, you want to get that done on such and such time and such day. And it's probably the only way you're really going to push yourself to get it out there. If you just leave things too open ended and you have this endless to do list on top of like your day to day having to take care of stuff and your family and your friends and your house and all this stuff, I mean, you're not gonna, you're probably not gonna put enough time. Um, I mean, unless you've been actually putting an hour into yourself every day. If you don't put the deadline down, it's gonna be another year. It's gonna be another month. It's gonna be another day before you get that out there. And you know, if I've heard this before too, like as soon as you think of the idea and it's a good idea, like that's the time when you need to really act upon it. Not like, well, once the sun is over here and the weather's like this and all these people agree with me on that and like all these other things have to be just right, like forget it. That's not, you know, what's really gonna push you and light a fire under your ass is like when the crap hits the fan, when adversity happens. I it's not like, I'm not saying like I want bad things to happen to you or me, but like, you know, when you stop like trying to create a world for yourself where you think that it's going to be problem free, you just try to create a world where at least you can pick the problems before they pick you, I guess you can say. And then also like not try to get in front or stop the flow of energy and nature and how things are just, bad stuff is going to happen. And you just need to be always alert and always prepared and never let your guard down, especially for your business and when it comes to your integrity and like what you really and truly feel about. You should absolutely stand behind that at all times. But here's the other thing too. Just let the world like happen as it's gonna happen. But like also like learn how to better, and this is something I've been working on myself, like better respond to things. You know what I mean? Like I'm a first responder actually, and I just think like about the I think about the responder part. Do you know what I mean? Like a first responder doesn't just make a gut reaction and then just goes and does something stupid that we regret later. We all do that. That's just thinking with your emotions. We do this all the time. But when you can just take your ego and put it on the shelf for just at least 10 seconds to 10 minutes, like what you'll be able to just re- take a little time to respond to something. Like and use your brain a little bit because you have the tools already to just respond in a way that's not going to hurt yourself or others. Like most, if not all, the situations that you're going through that are good or bad or whatever, like you're gonna be able to overcome them, and you have before, and somebody else has already. Just got to keep that in the back of your mind and not lose your integrity. That's all. That's all I really wanted to say today. Is really just strengthening that muscle where you're not like just jump into a reaction. You're just like let it sink in, and then form a more educated and intellectual response. You know, you don't have to go through grad school and college to think like that. You don't. You just got to learn to just realize that bad things are going to happen to everybody and anybody at any given time, every single day. And it's your job to avoid them at all costs, right? And better your life. And then realize too that there's just things in nature that are going to happen that are just going to totally change everything. And the quicker you can adapt to it and not freak out, the better off you'll be. And if you want further evaluation and a deeper dive into this, because I feel like I barely scratched the surface on these things, just get on the email list, results-required.com. And I'm not a very active person on social media, but I do put a lot of content out there. So you can just follow that tag right there, that handle, whatever it is, at results required, on the various platforms that you might find yourself or me on. Thank you very much for listening and or watching. Take it easy. Peace.